students, welcome to our online session of optical communication class. In the previous class we discussed about dispersions. Till the last point we covered dispersions with respect to material dispersion, and with respect to its derivation for that we have covered. Even we have covered with the dispersion analysis of that particular thing. Next we are going to learn about the waveguide dispersion. What is a waveguide dispersion? Waveguide dispersion occurs since the propagation of light in the core and cladding layers are differ. Whenever we do have any core or a cladder, when they both have a different waves, when we do have both the things are different for that particular thing, that waves is nothing but the layers are different. Because of the particular phenomena we consider as a waveguide dispersion. Let us consider the ray theory approach. It is equivalent to the angle between the ray and the fiber axis that always vary with respect to the wavelength. So that means whatever the wavelength we'll consider, based upon the wavelength, the ray will be going to approach into equivalent angle. A specific angle will be there between the fiber axis and vary with respect to wavelength from the fiber axis and between the equivalent approach of the angle between the ray and fiber axis. If you see, if you're getting any specific angle for that, then because of that you will get the what? You'll get the ray theory approach we are going to find out. Suppose if you had beta, suppose I'm taking beta, assuming as beta is the propagation constant for a single mode fiber, then the fiber exhibits what? If it is single mode, they won't be get any second derivative because it's a single mode, right? If it's multi-mode, then only we can able to get that particular part. So d square beta by d lambda square we can write is not equal to 0. In this particular phenomena, if you had a single mode, if you had a multi-mode, in multi-mode fiber the majority of modes of the propagation of the mode propagation far from the cutoff. So whatever the cutoff part is there, it is will be very far, and it is going to be understand the analysis of that. Okay. Next point, what you need to understand when we talk about the fiber, we have to see whatever the waveguides you're putting, they are almost free of wave dispersion and is negligible when compared to the material dispersion. When we see waveguide dispersion, when we compare with the material dispersion, always waveguide dispersion will be almost free, right? So that is the one of the point you need to consider. So now let us see the diagram how it is going to work on it. So as you can see here, the wavelength is in nanometer and dispersion is in minute kilometer, right? So now see, if wavelength 1200 nanometer, 1300 nanometer, 1400 nanometer, 1500 and 1600, these are we are having the wavelength in nanometer. Similarly, what is the dispersion we got? Dispersion we are keeping in minutes kilometer, right? So 20 10 0 minus 20 minus 10 0, like this we took it. So if you see, it is getting in negative region also. So when the wavelength is constant, the total analysis of that material will be, if material is there, it will be in upper side. If you see the waveguide, it always in negative only. So that is the example of magnitude of material and waveguide dispersion as a function of optical wavelength for a single mode fused silica core fiber. So made up of silica part, if the fiber if you are considering, you are going to get that kind of thing and that kind of analysis of that particular part. Similarly, polarization mode dispersion, if you want to see, students, so what is the polarization mode? We are giving input at this end, input light pulse is given and it is passing with the axis x and y. If you see, this is our cylindrical core, right? So we are passing a wave towards that particular cylindrical core and we want to get the output at the light pulse. So this is our output light pulse. So what you're getting, see, the pulse will become broadened, right? So this is input pulse, the output pulse, as you can see, it is getting broadened. This is called what? This is actually the polarization mode dispersion. This is occurring because of the polarization mode phenomena. Likewise, if you want to see the next part, how it is going to work on that, we will see in this way. So see here, diagram of it. First draw the diagram for x-axis with respect to y-axis, how it is going to occur for that. So in this, what we have seen, we have supposed that the core refractive index has different value along two orthogonal direction, means perpendicular direction from each other, corresponding to electric field oscillations. So whatever the electric field is there, it is getting oscillated in the polarizations. That is the oscillation direction. We can take x and y axis as we have taken in the graph. Input light will travel along the fiber, right? Always input light, where it will go? It will travel along the fiber. When it's traveling along the fiber, what happened at the output and what we observe? An input light will travel along the fiber with EY, polarization having at different group velocities and hence arrive at an output at different times. So the time will be differ, because of that the polarization will become more. Clear? So this is a reference of that where we just took this part. Next we do have model dispersion. So what is the meaning of dispersion, students? Dispersion means the difference in arrival time of the light ray at the output end of the optical fiber. When we had a difference at the output ray when it's arriving from the fiber, that is called it as dispersion. So what is model dispersion? Basically, model dispersion is caused by the difference in ray path with equal wavelength. Whenever wavelength we are considering, wavelength must be equal due to the variation in light incidence. Whatever incident angle we are considering, student, at a difference of that, it is taking at the input end, it occurs only in multimode fibers. So this particular form, when we see that, it is only occurring in the multimode fibers. So the material dispersion, what is the meaning of that? The material dispersion is related to the variation of light velocity, that change of velocity, that light velocity in a given fiber, whatever the fiber we are considering, for that material due to the difference in the propagation light wave. So whenever we pass a light wave, when it is getting propagated, when the velocity is varying, when the velocity is changing, velocity of light for that particular material of the fiber. Suppose in the previous example we have seen, right, the fiber is made up of silica, right? That silica form, if you want to see, if it is varying with respect to that, if you want to find out how it is getting that, then it is considered to be the what? Material dispersion. So first dispersion, model dispersion and material dispersion. Next, how do we find number of modes for any particular fiber? To get the number of mode of a particular fiber, we can write as number of mode is equals to diameter of core into numerical aperture into pi by lambda whole square by 2. This is the formula for finding the number of modes for that particular fiber. So by taking this particular phenomena, we can able to find how many number of modes in a particular fiber dispersion or any fiber we can able to find out. Next, likewise, we can see the graph of it. See here, what is there? We had what? We had one particular pulse, right? We are passing to the input part. This is the output end. It is getting deviated. How we are getting that one? If you see the diagram of this particular fiber. See here, what I took one optical fiber passing whatever the light is there in the core. What is the critical angle beyond the angle of incidence is greater than the critical angle, then it is called angle of incidence is what? Passing from the fiber, and angle of reflection become 90 degree, then it is called critical angle, right? So I have passed a different rays from this particular part. So when I am passing inside the ray, it is getting passing towards the length L minimum. This is what? Axis of the fiber, right? Similarly, I am passing an angle, different angles I am passing. So this is the maximum value. Till that maximum, you will get the critical angle. A certain angle of incidence, the angle of reflection or refraction become 90 degree, then it is called critical angle. So what is the value we have taken for this? If n1 is equals to 1.5 and whatever the angle of aperture is 0.01 and numerical aperture is 0.0212, the critical angles is what? About 12.5 degree. If you got that, we are able to get this graph. Okay, so pulse also you need to learn. Pulse is what? If we are passing one pulses, I want to see how what's the output I am getting. This is my output. Similarly, what is this theta I? Suppose angle of incidence is 0 and path length will be L. Then the longest part occur at theta I is equals to theta I for whatever the wave we are want to find out. So L maximum is equals to L by sine phi of CR. This is the formula we had, student, to get the maximum effective length of the fiber. So delta T, if you want to find out, it will be L by sine phi dash of CR into 1 by frequency 1 mu 1 minus L by mu 1. So what I can take for this? I can take L by mu 1 common. So L by mu 1 is I am writing as L by C common. So 1 by sine will be there. L by C will be common. L by C or L by mu 1, both are same, students. So it is what? 1 by sine CR, right? For that particular fiber only we are taking. So what is the sine theta actually? We know the critical angle is what? Critical angle. CR is nothing but critical angle. It is critical angle. Sin phi is equals to n2 by n1. Because refraction becomes 90 degree. If we put in the Snell's law, n2 by n1 is equals to sine of angle of incidence by sine of angle of refraction. So refraction is 90 degree. So only we get angle of incidence. From there we got this sine of phi of critical angle is equals to n2 by n1. I can substitute that one value over here. I'll got this particular form of the delta t. Right? Delta t is the formula we receive till what is the value? In the fiber we have seen, right? This is our delta tau, right? This is the path. Whatever the form of output is getting different times, that is nothing but delta t. Delta t we are already obtained now here. So over here we have taken the values of that particular angle and we found out the diagram, right? So now next what we considered in this, theta I is equal to 0 and path length is L for fiber length. And then we want to find longest part. How much is the longest part it going to occur? I'm explaining once again, students, so note it down that particular part. So theta I is equal to theta I of critical angle. So angle is nothing but critical angle. For L maximum we can write as L by sine theta of critical angle. So we have just substituted that particular part and we can write as delta t is equals to particular angle on that. Delta t is what? L by sine theta of critical part. So we can write that one also. So we wrote it that one into 1 by mu1. Mu1 is nothing but frequency of the velocity we can write. For that velocity minus L by c1 or mu1. So we can write L by c common. I got this. I know critical angle n2 by n1. I have substituted that value n2 by n1 here. So what I got, 1 by theta ic, theta is critical angle, n2 by n1. If I'll take reverse of it, 1 by means n1 by n2. So that's the reason I've written n by n2 beside n1 is as it is. If you multiply n1 square with that will be there. This is the angle we can write as a, or theta b is equals to 1 by b. B is nothing but bit rate in bit per second, right? So we can substitute that value in this particular parameter. So we got theta t is much less than the theta b. Theta b is nothing but bit rate. So that's the reason delta t less than 1 by b, therefore b into delta t. If you cross multiply that particular formula on right side, we got this less than 1, or your bit rate for that one b into L is less than n2 by n1 square into c by a. So what is actually a is nothing but 0.0002 is a small step index optical fiber. So beta length b into L we can write as 150. It's a constant value. If you substitute that one, 150 megabits per second into kilometer. I can write that one. I wrote it that. So this is the way I can represent that particular angle for the bits per second. And I just want to write how much the graph, how is the graph is going to be obtained. For writing that one particular part, I write, see, as we can see here what I took a graph of L in kilometer with respect to the graph of bits, megabits per second, right? So I have taken both. I can find at 150 megabits per second and 150 into L kilometer. If I want to see this is the graph, I will get it. Then we do have, student, bandwidth of a multimode optical fiber. How we got the bandwidth of multimode optical fiber? To estimate the bandwidth of an optical fiber, we must convert from bit transfer rate to a bit bandwidth of that. In one signal period, 2 bits can be transferred. So the maximum bit signal frequency is simply 1/2 the bit transfer rate. So what actually I want to find bandwidth, right? So what is the bandwidth he is giving? F maximum is equals to b by 2. What is b over there? That is the bandwidth by 2. So F maximum less than c into n2. We can have this formula in the previous one. C into n2 by 2 into n1 square into a into L. If you want to cross multiply, you will get the W is less than this formula, right? This is also, we had a light frequency for that particular bandwidth as well. So here this is what actually light frequency is used in the optical fiber system, which carried a frequency between 10 power 14 and 10 power 15 hertz or 10 power 5 to 10 power 6 gigahertz. If you convert into gigahertz, we have written that one. Theoretical bandwidth of fiber optic system is 10% of the carrier frequency, or up to 10,000 to 1 lakh gigahertz. Okay, that's the range of our light frequency. When we are passing in the optical fiber, we can get this much of frequency. Okay, so as you can see, for that particular value of it, how it is getting the matched cladding, depressed cladding, step index, triangular with annular ring, we get the graphs in this way. These are the graphs of steps. How do we get? It's actually a representative cross section of index profile for 1310 nanometer optimized depressed shift, and the third one we have depressed flattened, and fourth one we do have large effective core area fibers. For these all four parts, these are the graphs. For the first one, it is 1330 nanometer optimized match cladding is there. For the second one, we have the depressed shift is there for B graph. This is a B graph, both the one. And for the C1, we can get this one. This is the C1, right? And the D1 also we have represent. These are the graphs. Whenever we see the cladding core of it, we can represent the graphs in this way. Okay, it is for double clad or W profile. When we do have a cladding is double and the core is 1, this we will get. If you got a quadruple, means 4 parts. If you are dividing into 4 parts the cladder, the profile will be generated in this way. These are the constant parameters: delta 1, delta 2, delta 3, delta 4. These are the 4 part on that we are dividing, quadruple we can say. If you see the large area depressed shift, if you see the large area is getting depressed shift, so that's the reason we can represent this particular form of both the one, cladding as well as the core. Delta 1, delta 2, delta 3. For side core, for center core, for all the core values, we can represent in this format. If you had large area dispersion flattened, if you see, we can represent in this way. So these are what actually representative cross section of index profile for 1310 optimized for the first one, second one depressed shift, for third one depressed flatten, and the fourth one is large. All the fours we already have seen, right? Upper 2 graph is for depressed cladding and match cladding. Second is for, what is second is for depressed shift, for the shift how we can obtain. Third one is what? Flatten, dispersion flatten. And the fourth one is for large flatten, large effective core area fibers. Typically how the waveguides produce a dispersion and the common material dispersion for 3 different single mode designing fiber that can be represent here. The first one, as you can see, this is my optimum value 1300 nanometer for this single mode. If I want to see the single mode fiber, if I see the wavelength, if it is dispersion shift, I'll get the graph like this towards the origin. If I see dispersion flatten, it's somewhat more area it is consuming. These are what, which one? The waveguide dispersion. The upper one is for material dispersion. This is completely explaining the graph for all type of dispersion, starting from material, then after the material there is a waveguide, then all the waveguide type of dispersion also they have explained. For the single mode, it's a reference point. For downside it is in negative, upper side is in positive. The next we do have, student, is wavelength nanometer, dispersion per second per nanometer into kilometer. Nanometer is for wavelength, kilometer is how much distance it travel. That both we have to consider. So this is for reference point is origin, downside same we are taking -10, -20, upper side +10, +20. It is 1300 nanometer optimization. These all are what actually, students, these are the graphs which we have considered while we just want to find out their analysis part, how they are going to produce, what are the standard observation for that. These are the standard observation when we see dispersion shift, dispersion flatten, and optimization. That is optimized 1300 nanometer, typical waveguide dispersion, and the common material dispersion for 3 different single mode fibers. Clear? This is for the single mode, how it is going to get that. So this is for what actually we obtain. We combine all, we got the resultant. This is the B graph. It is for resultant total dispersion. What is A graph? This is A graph. Right? This is the A1, where we can find 3 different materials. We combine, we just take separate. Standard, material, and waveguide dispersion. Here, combination of all the 3 we considered, and we obtain the graph in this way. Right? This is the way we can represent that particular graph, and we obtain that one as well. So now definition of group delay, students. What is a group delay? So what is group delay actually? Mainly spectral components all with travel with different velocities. Whenever traveling different velocity, as the signal propagates along the fiber, each spectral components can be assumed to travel independently. Since all waveguide can travel independently. Whatever the signal is, not necessary all will combine. They are independent. And to undergo a time delay or group delay per unit length in the direction of propagation, mathematically we can write group delay this way. We already have derived this. Tg by L is equals to 1 by Vg. To cross multiply 1 by C d beta by dk. If you want to write k value in terms of lambda, then minus lambda square 2 pi C d beta by d lambda we can write, and Vg is equals to, we can write in this format as well. So we obtain that Vg is equals to C into d beta by dk minus 1. So Vg is equals to C into d beta by dk. If you take a reverse of it, it will be minus 1. This is 1 by Vg, right? If you take a reverse of that, you will take a minus 1. So this is called velocity at which energy a pulse travel along the fiber. This is the group delay, depends upon your lambda. Clear? That is the lambda parameter, we wrote it. And the next, we want to write how it is going to work. So if the spectral width of the optical source is not too wide, it is not so wide, the delay difference per unit wave length along the propagation path is given by this formula, d Tj by d lambda, right? This is the formula we already derived in initial classes of ours. So this is what, minus d lambda by 2 to plus d lambda by 2, between that you had a lambda. So delta lambda by 2 is what actually? It is a spectral component which are delta lambda by 2 apart and which lie delta lambda by 2 above and below. So minus delta lambda by 2 is below, plus delta lambda by 2 is above. And central wavelength is lambda naught. The total delay difference delta tau over distance L is given by this. So delta tau is equals to delta of Tj by d lambda into delta lambda. So that is represented with the help of minus L by 2 pi C 2 lambda d beta by d lambda plus lambda square d square beta by d lambda square into delta lambda. In terms of angular frequency, we can write in this format. So that's what actually delta of tau is what equals to, delta is nothing but d by d omega of Tj into delta omega d by d, already I wrote what is Tj actually, students, L by Vj, right? Propagation delay is nothing but 1 L by propagation velocity, group velocity. So group delay is equals to 1 by group velocity, right? So we have taken common L, take outside. So d square by d tau square into delta of omega as it is. The factor of beta 2, if you want to write, what I can write for that? D square beta by d omega square is nothing but, what is that? This is the group velocity for that d parameter. For change the mode constant with respect to the L, decide the amount of whatever the spectral wavelength will get. For the spectral width, delta lambda is given by sigma g. This is what? Sigma, right? Sigma g is equals to approximately equals to delta d Tj by d lambda into sigma lambda. If you substitute all the parameter at the end, we got the relation of Tj in this format. This is our Tj relation we obtain for our optical fiber. For the factor d is equals to 1 by L, and we substitute all the parameters. We got this is the parameter we do have. So this is about your unit 2. So unit 2 we covered with the factors, with the spectral densities, with the all kind of dispersions starting from their analysis part, and even we talk about their the relation of it, how it is going to work on it, what are the parameters here, the group delay is going to depends, all these things we covered. So that's how the unity has been covered, students. So the thing what you have learned in that, you have learned about losses, and you have learned about the kind of dispersion, you see the losses of that, scattering, how the optical fiber is going to work for that, what are the parameters your optical fiber is going to depend on that, and the main important thing what you are going to saw in that is this, all the derivation part of it, and then we saw the analysis also, this thing what actually it consists of. Based on the analysis part also we have covered their application part as well. Okay, so this is how this unit 2 has been obtained. So unit 2 is basically for group delays and group analysis of your spectral part of it. So we see group delay and group velocity, we have seen their analysis part, we even have talked about their working on it, and what else it's covered, what are the things it's going to work, everything with their analysis and with their functionality, and the diagrams also we covered. So based on that, let's see what else we do have in unit 3.